So today I will be sharing my thoughts on this book. It's titled Bolatito. It's written by Seyi Amao. Let's get started. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Rachel here. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss a thing. You can also like this video so that it is fair to other viewers as well. As I said, I'm going to be sharing my thoughts and doing a review on this book. It's called Bolatito by Seyi Amao. It was sent to me by the book lady NG. Thank you so much for sending me a copy. I actually just finished reading it as at the time of shooting this video, which is a Sunday afternoon kind of evening, and it left me feeling very, like, I don't know, it left me feeling, let me just say, warm. Like, I don't know, like I had this. Anyway, before I start, so I'm going to try as much as possible to keep this review totally spoiler free so that you guys can, whenever I read books that have certain things in them that I feel like readers should experience for themselves, I definitely will not give any spoilers in this review. Seyi Amao is a true cosmopolitan who has lived and worked across 3 continents, embracing their food, culture, and art. She's a creative fashion entrepreneur, voiceover specialist, and an activist for women's reproductive health. Seyi is also a hopeful romantic who is passionate about projecting Nigeria's indigenous creativity on a global scale. So I'm going to read out how she describes herself at the back of this book, because this is actually the first that I've seen of this. You know how at the back of books authors have about the author, but Seyi's own is actually quite interesting. So it goes, "Hello, who am I? That's a good question. The easiest answers might be to describe my gender, ethnicity, nationality, or profession. Something that says I am important. Well, I am a human and I am kind. You might say I am humankind. I am a voice that beckons to be heard. I am a dance that moves to unbounded rhythms. I am a symphony, an elaborate musical composition of life's lowest and highest notes. I am the wind whose genesis is unknown. I am matter, after all, I matter. I am one of a kind and the only me you would ever meet. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance." Let me just read out the synopsis of the book that is at the back of this book. What happens when a woman struggling with self-defeat meets a 12-year-old girl with an autoimmune disease? An unexpected friendship blooms from shared pain and the rediscovery of what love really means, one that breaks every traditional stereotype and difference in age, culture, tribe, and religion. An inspirational suspense-packed tale that takes you on a journey from the corridors of a pediatrics ward in Lagos, Nigeria, to the front line of battle in the Sambisa Forest, Borno State. A story about love, betrayal, and redemption. When I first picked up this book, I was like, okay, I don't know if this is a book for children or like, because of the cover of the book, right? So I was like, I don't know, I don't really read books for children, obviously, like, but okay, whatever, I will still start it. And my goodness, I was actually impressed, most especially with the messages that were passed in this book. Like, I feel like the messages that were passed in this book were simply beautiful and powerful, and they were passed in a very simple way. So I'm going to just talk about like my thoughts on the plot. I think that the author did a good job in how she arranged the plot. I know that as I was reading this book, I kept on flipping the pages and I was like, okay, what's coming next? What's coming next? What's coming next? And I love the way she was able to introduce different characters. So this book is, surprisingly, it's titled Bolatito, and who we would probably say is the main protagonist of this book. But there's also another main protagonist who is the 12-year-old girl referred to in the synopsis, and her name is Ifunanya. So the two of them meet in a hospital in Lagos. Coincidentally, unfortunately, or fortunately, the only spare place for Bolatito to be held up in the hospital is the pediatrics ward, and she's surrounded by children, and at first it's uncomfortable for her, but then eventually she strikes up this friendship with Ifunanya, who is sort of like her roommate, and her bed is not too far from her, and before you know it, they develop this amazing friendship. I mean, Bolatito is like an older woman in her late 30s who has gone through so much in life. I liked the attempt at the back and forth in terms of the timeline. So there were a lot of things that happened 3 years ago that were necessary to be said, that sort of give a backstory on what is happening in the book. And I like the way the author was able to go back and forth with the plot. So it was actually an engaging plot. Towards the end, of the plot. As I was reading, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is so nice, everything, yeah, okay, I understand what she's trying to do here. That's the writer. I understand what she's trying to do here, and this might be a nice, happy ending. And then all of a sudden, there's this weird twist, and I'm like, no, 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 like, you can't even do this. But then eventually, there was a lovely resolution at the end, which I feel like is worth reading. But I mean, if you're one of those weird people that read the ends of books before you start at the beginning, then I don't know what to tell you. But it's something that you actually have to read the whole book to get to where it got to. The characterization, I thought that the author did a good job with the characterization. Yes, I will commend her. I think mostly for Bolatito's character, for Azuka's character, and for Usman's character. So Azuka is Ifunaya's father, and oh my goodness, how do I even describe all these things without giving spoilers? Azuka is Ifunaya's father, right? Who is the 12-year-old girl. And then Usman is Azuka's very good friend. And then there's Bolatito, of course, who I've told you has so much going on and has like this backstory. Then there's Akin, who is her husband. I love the way the author was able to develop their characters. I know that for Ifunaya's character, I had an issue connecting with her somewhat because I felt like, you know, the expression of her thoughts and her words and her behavior was a little too advanced for her age. However, in the book, it actually says that yes, like, you know, when Bolatito was thinking about Ifunaya and her character and how she has so much grace and wisdom, considering all the things that she has been going through. This person has been in and out of hospital, battling diabetes 1 at such a young age. Bolatito was like, this person is just too old for her age, like she has too much wisdom for her age. And yes, that may have been the description of Ifunaya's character, but I would have loved to have more of a description of her character. But granted, I mean, it's not like she was the main protagonist. She was just like the main co-protagonist with Bolatito. I really loved Usman's character. He may not have been like the major character in the book, but I love the way at the end of the book, the people who were sort of like the main characters sort of slid to the background, and you found people like Usman and more of Ifunaya's character really shined through. I actually really liked it. So I feel like the two of them meeting, that's Ifunaya and Bolatito meeting in that pediatrics ward in the hospital, really set a journey on a course that changed their lives forever and introduced love in a way that, you know, two of them had not really felt before, and that was so beautiful to see. So for the writing style, I actually liked it. So this book, I actually read it in like 1.5 sittings. The wordings that were used were simple, easy, straight to the point. I liked the way the author was able to give backstories. I liked how, you know, so apparently Azuka, who is Ifunaya's dad, is in the Nigerian military, and his friend Usman, who is in the Nigerian military. And I didn't think it was necessary, but I liked the way the author actually went into detail in explaining like some of these. Maybe she got that influence because I read, you know, I saw her acknowledgements, and I guess that her parents and her parent-in-laws are in the military of some sort. So maybe that's where she got that inspiration from. It was just nice to see that infusion. I've not really read that in a fiction book before, like the activities of the Nigerian military perfectly being infused into a story. And I thought that it was nice, like some of the activities in Sambisa Forest, how they were able to track like Boko Haram, like, you know how these things go, like as if you're watching a movie. The author was able to do that. I had a reservation, however, with the way the chapters were arranged and the scenes sort of followed each other. I felt like they were a little bit disjointed and somewhat all over the place. And I noticed that there were lots of things that were packed into one chapter that I felt could have been separated into 2 or more chapters, but that's just my opinion. Maybe it's because of the way I'm used to reading things. The themes in this book were very deep. They were heavy. They were to me, they were nice, and that was why I was happy at the end and the resolution of the book. Like, I actually, man, because after all of that, I was just like, you know what, come on, at this point I need a happy ending, because I cannot even deal if you don't have a happy ending. And that's why I said towards the end of the book, when I was reading and it was looking like as if it was going to be something else, I'm like, please, oh, I don't know whether I'll start typing my email to the author, because what type of heartbreak is this one? The book explored themes like loss, grief, death, pain, betrayal, religion, or like I said, the military activities, which she was able to express so well in a fiction book. I thought it was a nice attempt. And then polycystic ovary syndrome. That's PCOS, which is something that I'm so happy that even in the Nigerian community a lot of people are beginning to talk about now. And like I said, when I read out about the author, like, she's also passionate about talking about women's reproductive health, and that's something that needs to be discussed. Like, I really love the way the theme of love, of loss, of grief, and of death were they were intricately woven together to bring about such a very compelling story. And I mean, I cannot say more than that without giving away too much. It's crazy how certain things have to happen for other things to fall in place, and they may not necessarily be good. They may be seen as good as well, especially if the things that fall into place are actually better than what was there before. So I don't know, it was, for me, I thought of so many things. The themes really carried the book. I also love the way the author was able to have that take on adoption as an alternative to having children, nurturing as a mother, and just providing care for children who actually need it. A lot of people are still very much traditional in the sense that they feel like you should be able to have your own child, and if you don't have your own child, you're barren, and it's a take on your womanhood, and you failed as a woman. And in the book you can see how Tito really struggled with that, and how she looked at herself, how she actually accepted herself, and you can see how Ifunanya coming into her life, you could see how that changed her life and how it changed her own acceptance of herself, especially even if some of her family members were looking down on, you know, her actually trying to cement that relationship with Ifunanya. So all in all, I think it was a lovely read. It was one of those books where I started it and I was getting into it. It took me a while to settle into it, and I'm wondering, okay, where is this going to? I know that yes, they strike up a relationship, but where does this go to? What happens, you know? And yeah, there were some significant happenings in the book that I felt like eventually was worth reading. So I think it's a very, very good effort from the author, passed across strong and important messages that need to be addressed, especially in Nigerian society. And so I would give this book a strong 3.5/5, and I would recommend, if you're looking to read anything like this, you guys can check it out. If you want to get a copy, I think you can get from Roving Heights bookstore if you're in Nigeria. Maybe check Amazon. I haven't checked Amazon if it's on Amazon, but Roving Heights store if you're in Nigeria. And if you've read this book, let me know what you thought about it in the comments, and if you haven't, let me know in the comments if you're going to read it as well. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.